Welcome, everyone, to another Zoom call of Real People, Real Stories, where we are interviewing people just like you and me who have had amazing success with redox molecules. Now, my name is Dr. Barbie Phillips again, and I am from Fargo, Oklahoma. And we are so excited to bring a great guest to you tonight. My background is a chiropractic physician for people and animals, and I've been taking care of patients of the furry kind and the human kind for 25 years. I was introduced to this wonderful technology that we're going to talk about tonight 4.5 years ago from my co-host tonight, Kathleen Oliveri, and we are excited to tell you a little bit about it. So if you're new to redox molecules, let me share just a little bit of background. Redox signaling molecules we are born with, and they are really important, in fact, foundational for our cells to communicate with one another so that we can be healthy. We, over time, unfortunately, our bodies can get where we don't produce enough of these molecules just due to the aging process, toxins, environmental toxins, and things that happen in our lives. It's a natural process. And so we are going to discuss with you a product called ASEA Redox tonight. And this product comes in a liquid form, and it also comes in a topical gel form. It is a way to replenish these redox signaling molecules into our body, which, by the way, until ASEA, the company, came about, they said was impossible and couldn't happen. And so we're excited to have a product that you can replenish these products, and by consuming them or rubbing them on, they actually absorb. They're tiny molecules and they absorb into our cells. And when they absorb into the cells, they act as an on-off switch to those cells. They turn the good cells on and the bad cells off. And once that happens, it starts to act as a cascade effect across those cells. And so it helps with resilience to stress and overall wellness over time as that happens. I will mention a disclaimer before we get started with our guest that tonight is simply information from our guest, testimony from our guest, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any medical condition. And so with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful co-host, Kathleen Oliveri. Kathleen?
Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you so much, Dr. Barbie. You did such a wonderful job explaining why we're here tonight and what we're talking about. I'm Kathleen Oliveri, and I am from Mississippi, and I am a college teacher at Mississippi State University. I have been taking redox signaling molecules for 5+ years now, and it has been revolutionary in my life. But y'all came to hear all about Dr. Larry Cairns tonight. And I would like to say good evening and welcome. And Dr. Larry, thank you so much for joining us this evening at the last minute. It's such an honor to have you here. Where are you joining us from tonight?
I live in Benton Harbor, Michigan. St. Joseph, Benton Harbor are twin towns on the little St. Joseph River that empties into Lake Michigan, close to us. We're directly across from Chicago.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful. Thank you for, it's so wonderful to have this great technology that you can join us. Dr. Larry, how were you introduced to redox signaling molecules, or ASEA?
Well, I had a couple of introductions. One was with an acquaintance from a previous business that I had been in, and I was in a hurry that day. What she told me with a fairly lengthy description while I was trying to get out the door, and I was impatient, and I guess I might not have even been very kind to the person. And I thought, this is too good to be true. Something made from salt water from Salt Lake City that's going to help my body. And came up again with another acquaintance, Dr. Maureen Hayes, who's a friend from another situation, and she wanted me to take a look at it. I thought, well, if she's going for this, there must be something to it. She's doubly board certified in anesthesiology and pain medicine, and very believable with a wonderful track record. So I did check into it. along with my wife, and we thought, okay, let's go ahead with this because there was also the possibility of helping people and our own financial situation. So that was 10 years ago now.
Oh,
And
wow.
we started out with that. Um, we actually had a situation that I forgot about in between where someone introduced us to it. We had gone to a seminar, and I was standing waiting for the music to stop and the speaker to come on the platform. And I noticed a man being wheeled in a wheelchair by a lady about same age, perhaps. And they moved the wheelchair into a spot up close, and people around them seemed to know this person, but he had a very stony expression on his face. He was slouched over, had a pill rolling tremor with the condition that like Michael Fox has. And I went and talked to them at a break, and he just stared right through me. I couldn't respond. About 4 months later, we went back for an advanced seminar of the same program. And as I was standing waiting for the music to stop and the speaker to show up on the platform, I noticed the same couple. They came in walking. He was holding her arm, but walked right up to the seat in the front and was greeted lovingly by lots of people who obviously knew him. And at a break, I had to go find out what the deal was. I've never seen that condition respond to anything as fast as that and as amazing as that was. Excuse me.
That is
Um,
amazing.
Pardon?
That is amazing.
Yes. And he looked at me, he said, I remember talking with you or you talking to me a few months ago. I just couldn't open up from inside my head to respond. I said, what's made the difference? Well, we're not supposed to talk about our company or this or that here at this seminar, but let's go out to eat supper together. So uh, he and his wife and my wife Sue and I walked 8 blocks to a restaurant at normal pace, sat down and learned about this. And that was another piece of evidence for us that this was real. And
Dr.
go
Larry,
ahead.
before I ask you a little bit more about your experiences in taking ASEA redox signaling molecules, what is your background? What is your professional background?
Okay, I'm a retired now obstetrician gynecologist.
Hello.
Was
Oh,
privileged.
Like 200 and something.
excuse me.
Goodness.
Make sure
Good
that
afternoon.
your microphone is muted, everybody. If your microphone's not muted, take advantage of this opportunity and make sure it's muted, just as you are, so we don't hear you. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Larry.
Privileged to deliver about 5,000 babies over the years in Minnesota, where I trained, as well as in Zaire, Africa, where we spent a year and got to deliver our own baby there. My wife did the delivery of our baby, but I just kind of assisted and watched and helped and cried and whatever. But so then practicing in the Southwest Michigan area for about 24 years, obstetrics and gynecology with a big emphasis on an autoimmune condition we know it to be now that allows implants of lining of the uterus to be found outside the uterus where it is not supposed to be, and it can cause very painful periods, painful intercourse, painful bowel movements. And so we did a lot with advanced laparoscopic surgery to help with that situation. Little did I know that a few years after retiring, I would learn about ASEA and that this has some potential benefit of taking those cells and throttling them down and letting the cells act the way they're supposed to. So I wish I knew when I was in practice what I know now about ASEA and its benefits.
So tell me about, you've been introduced, you've seen it work, and how it can affect other people. what finally was the thing that got you interested in taking it? And tell me about your personal experiences.
Okay, well, once I had talked with Dr. Hayes, we decided to try it. And little did I know that it was going to have major impact on my body in a number of ways. I think the last time I added it up, it was like 17 or 18 different benefits that I've noticed. One of those was the fact that I had had a heart attack. And it had shown up with symptoms several times, but each time the doctor said, no, there's nothing wrong. Well, the third time they said, oh, you've got an area of your heart that is not contracting. It is just flopping in the breeze. Um, they did put a stent in to increase the blood flow. Um, and I was left with an area of scar tissue in my heart. Um, in my way of thinking as a physician, that meant those cells were not living, functioning cells. I now know that that isn't the full story, because when I started replenishing with the redox signaling molecules we call ASEA liquid, it wasn't very long, and the next scan showed that that area of scar tissue was smaller and the area around it was functioning okay. And now I think a year or so ago, it is completely normal heart muscle tissue in my heart and no more scar tissue. Uh, I also come from a 5-generation history of bad or sick headaches, the kind that you may have some visual disturbance, you may have pain on one side of your head or the other, or nausea, vomiting, all kinds of things that, just get me in a dark place, please, so that I don't see any light, because that makes this worse. And I have now not had such a headache for about 5 years. Um, just it's just gone. Back to the cardiovascular area, I'm no longer on any high blood pressure medicine or cholesterol medications, because the redox signaling molecules are making the body's cells work the way they were designed to, and keep those things under control and keep the numbers down. I also had a problem with some of my red blood cells, the tiniest little ones that have to do with clotting, and that number is back to normal. Just to throw out a few things. Oh, and then my big toe a while back swelled up and got really red and hot, with a condition that rhymes with the word shout, and I felt like shouting. I went to the podiatrist. He took an X-ray. He said, "Yeah, that's not the itis of Arthur, but it is this other condition." Good news and bad news. We can treat it is the good news. Bad news is there's no longer a generic form of this drug, so it's going to be pricey. And the next thing is, it will. I guarantee it will make you nauseated, and you will occasionally lose everything in your stomach as you're taking this medication twice a day for a month. I went to the drugstore to pick it up. It was going to be $313 for 60 pills. I said, nuts to this. No, thank you. Redox 28 had just come out, and I started applying the gel to my big toe joints repeatedly. And at the end of the third day, all the swelling and discomfort was gone, and the redness. And every once in a while, it tries to kick up a little bit, and I just put some Renew 28 on it, and that takes care of the issue. Can I say I'm cured, or it's in these situations? No, I'm not going to say that. All I can say is my cells are functioning normally and carrying out the functions that they were designed by my creator to work right.
I know one question that some people are going to have who are taking the ASEA redox signaling molecules is, how much ASEA did you drink or are you drinking today?
Okay, I started out at 2 ounces twice a day. And then back about that time, 9, 10 years ago, we realized that you can have better effects with higher doses if you are over the age of 45 or have a significant medical problem. You probably need more. So I went up to 8, and both my wife and I take 8 ounces a day. Now with the new essentials bundle, we're cutting back to 6 ounces of the higher concentration that is in the new bottles. Bottles look the same, but they've been able to ramp up the potency of the liquid. So I think we're going to settle in for a while at 6 ounces a day and see how we do with that.
Mhm. When you first started to take ASEA, what was it like an immediate response, or did you see some changes over time? Because everybody reacts differently to this. Was this an instant, or what were your
Well,
experiences?
I can say I put a line in the sand on the sick headaches. They stopped and didn't come back. Um, uh, the uh, the problem with my big toe was within just a few days, 3 days, and that cleared up. I didn't watch my blood pressure or didn't have blood testing done very often, so I can't really say how quickly my cholesterol and uh, other lipids
Mhm.
and blood pressure and so on returned to normal. But uh, I didn't wake up one morning and say, "Oh, it's happened. I'm okay."
Right.
It's just kind of it just moved into the flow of life as we continued to use it.
That was interesting. Something you said earlier is, in your medical practice, you were wishing you had knowledge of this, when you were still practicing medicine. And to me, that was a significant thing that you mentioned.
Yeah, over the years, I wrote thousands of prescriptions, and a lot of those prescriptions were to cover the side effects of some previous prescription that person was on. And sometimes you feel like you're chasing your tail, um, round and round. Here, take this medication to help you with the side effects of the previous medication that I gave you that also has side effects.
Mhm.
And now, as I look back, I say there's a lowest common denominator in our bodies for cellular health,
Mhm.
and that is the redox signaling molecules that we're talking about, something that we didn't know about 25 years ago. The earliest papers that I can find published were about 1953, but they had no idea what it was that they were dealing with. And being able to synthesize these from natural products and produce something that our bodies recognize as native or innate to the body is nothing less than a miracle. And for the body to say, "Oh, we're supposed to be acting like this." Um, I mean, I know of people who have been able to go off medication for hormone issues in their neck
Mhm.
and not needed to supplement any longer with synthetic hormones. And we're seeing this too in some women that we've had the privilege of working with, even though I'm not practicing, but for them to say, I just don't have those power surges anymore.
Mhm.
I don't have the sweats or the chills or whatever symptoms they're having as a result of that being at that point of their life. So I wish I'd been able to share this with patients over the 40 years I practiced.
If somebody is watching this today and not sure if they should try this or what they should do, what would you tell somebody who is on the fence about these products, about ASEA redox signaling molecules and ASEA?
Well, I'm learning to say it can't not work. Our bodies are designed to work well. Barbie mentioned that at a certain point in aging, we start making less of these. And by the time a person is 50 years old, they're about 50% deficient in these molecules. And so their cells don't function as well as they should. And so now we can replenish those, and people uh, act, feel, and retain vitality and strength and energy at levels that we uh, thought were probably gone forever. So I would say do give it a try. But keep in mind, most things that you take don't work overnight, like we were talking about. Um, but what we have learned is that if a person is taking an appropriate amount for 1 week, about 15% will see some result that they were hoping for. At the end of 1 month, 50% will. At the end of 3 months, 90%. So it's so important to keep going for at least 3 months, to give it a good old college try and let your body have all the redox signaling molecules it can muster, can use, and let the healing take place.
Well, thank you so much. Now, I do want to open this up because we do have quite a few people listening live tonight. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to unmute your microphone. And if you want to unmute your video, you can as well, because I'm sure there are some questions out there for Dr. Larry. And also, too, if Dr. Barbie Phillips has any questions, because I know she will definitely wrap up once we get any questions answered.
Dr. Larry, I would like to ask if you would mention the areas of health that it impacts. There's like 5 major areas that it impacts. And I think that's super important for our listeners to know about that.
Yes. Well, gonna give me a memory test here. For sure, gastrointestinal, hormonal. Fill in as we go here, Barbie.
Let's see, your cardiovascular.
Cardiovascular.
Yeah.
Neurologic.
And helping with the inflammatory response and our immune system as well. And I'm going to assume that you saw some of those things when you were in practice.
Yes. Yes.
So if we can have one product that actually affects those 5 major areas of health, I would say that's pretty significant. So, yeah.
So that's why I call it the lowest common denominator of cellular health, because every cell needs these molecules to function appropriately. And when we don't have the appropriate number, then it affects all kinds of areas of our bodies.
That's a good explanation. I actually kind of wondered what you meant by that. So thank you for explaining that. That's great. Any other questions for Dr. Larry? I guess we're going to have a shy group tonight. Do you have any closing comments before we wrap up, Dr. Larry?
Well, I just am grateful to the Lord for introducing this into our lives and making it another way that I can help other people to be healthy and strong and live out God's calling on their lives, maybe longer and healthier than otherwise.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement. If we can keep our holy temples healthy, we can go out and serve what God's got intended for us. So that is our goal overall. So thank you, Dr. Larry. We will go ahead and start wrapping up if there's not any questions. We are going to, of course, have another Zoom call in 2 weeks. Those of you that are with us are used to that. So our next date will be August 6th, and it'll be at 6:30 p.m. again, where we will interview another guest and find out how redox signaling molecules has changed their life in a positive way. The recordings will be posted on the Creation Chiropractic YouTube channel, so you can find them there. And we really appreciate everyone joining us tonight to listen to Dr. Larry's story. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. So until then, everyone have a fantastic week, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.